Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. LJ Rose, and this is the Natural Wellness Academy, and we're having a meet and greet, and welcome to everybody that is attending. We'll probably have some more people coming in soon, and we are recording this, so if you did miss any of it, you can ask me for a link. It's going to be a link on the cloud. So what we're doing is a meet and greet because we have a lot of different programs. We have people who might be interested in a specific program. A lot of people are doing blended now because coaching is continuing to grow. It is still, I think, the first or second fastest growing profession. Even health coaching, which sometimes looks like it could be saturated, a lot more people now are using coaches, a lot more doctors' offices are using them. And what we are finding really is specialization in niche markets are really the way to go in any of the coaching industries. If you're here because you're interested in the cannabis one, I will use a metaphor that I did yesterday. We had a webinar for the cannabis course, and we've talked about it being like not even, let's see, we have a couple people that just came on, and if you've just come on, I'm just muting you, but we will open up later on. We'll open up the microphones if you have questions. It's just that right now there's sometimes ambient noise. So I've talked about the cannabis industry, especially with coaching, as being that the drop hasn't even hit the bucket. But Sherry, if you remember yesterday, the metaphor I gave, I said, when you talk about the tip of the iceberg, anybody getting into this field right now of cannabis is like being in a helicopter still 1,000 feet over the iceberg. It's just still so new. But any of the coaching any of the certifications that we have, we can talk a little bit about them, and I'll be introducing you to our mentors and letting them talk a little bit about the courses. So just my background very briefly, I am a psychologist, but I really got excited back in the 80s when I was learning about how hypnotherapy can get to the source of things. And I was kind of considered a pioneer in the field. And I traveled all over the world training people in hypnotherapy. And I was starting to become ill. I didn't realize I had a very severe autoimmune disorder. At the time, they weren't really naming them. I think the only thing they would name would be something like lupus or Epstein-Barr. And it was a time in my life where I came to the realization that I wasn't paying attention to my body. I was very much focused on my mind, being a psychologist with a background in hypnotherapy. And I was always interested in things that were spirituality, but I wasn't paying attention to my body. And all healing really needs to be mind, body, and healing. And so when I changed the way I ate, when I changed the way that I was dealing with my stress and started feeling better, I knew that there was some health coaching going on, but I thought, really, I'm not seeing anybody getting into what keeps us in these places of negative behaviors, eating the wrong foods, not handling our stress well. And I decided to do the first holistic health and life coaching combinations so that we could get the mind dynamics in there, which are really important. I know we were speaking to Harriet earlier, and she's working with people who are disabled. A lot of it is mindset. Everything has to do with mind. So we really do focus a lot on that. And we've gone on to add a hypnotherapy training that some of you who are on the call tonight have been in the hypnotherapy training, and it adds a lot. In fact, a lot of the way that we're going is hypno-coaching now, just because you have that ability to work with people to get into the subconscious mind and make habits that will stick. So enough about me. What I'd like to do is, since I mentioned first the holistic health and life coaching, I'd like to introduce you to our lead mentor in that program. And that is, just raise your hand because we're on, and I'm probably going to go to speaker view now to give you a chance to really speak. This is Jamie Hernandez. Well, I think we're getting to, we see Julie Ann there. See, that's what I'm saying is that I think maybe when you first start speaking, Jamie. So Jamie,
okay.
yeah, I mean, she has a background in psychology, was very interested in the health coaching, went on to do the hypnotherapy training, is doing such a magnificent job, not just mentoring, but really walking your talk out in the world, working with people. You identified your niche. You've written 2 books that have gone to Amazon bestseller, and I tell you, we are really, really proud of you. So Jamie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the holistic health and life coaching?
Sure, and thank you for writing the foreword for my books, because I wouldn't have been able to write them if I hadn't learned what I learned at the Natural Wellness Academy and been able to read. I wrote my books as a way to speak to potential clients and clients. So, I just try to help as many people as possible. Excuse me, I'm having like some allergies tonight. So, yeah, I practice as a holistic health coach and a hypnotherapist. When I started, I was really interested in both. I know you remember that. I was like, okay, I'm going to do the health coaching, but what about hypnosis? And you're like, well, let's just do one at a time. But, I'm the same. I have my background in psychology. And so I knew that the two had to go together. And I will say, excuse me, even though you said health coaches can seem like a saturated field, it's not when you choose a niche, because, when you choose a specialty, then you're one of only a few that do that specialty. And people want to seek out someone that's an expert in something, not just someone that is a little bit good at everything. So, when I figured out what my niche was, that really helped me to grow my business. And I just hear all the time, people are amazed that I'm a health coach and a hypnotherapist. And they're like, this is a really great business. This is fantastic. Because, a lot of people have been trained to help people eat better and learn about nutrition, but then to be able to add that mind piece and that hypnosis in and bring that all together for somebody and support them on all of those levels is what makes the Natural Wellness Academy different, I think.
Well, I do think the fact that we have so many different courses and that they really do have a little bit of interdependence in them too. And then Jamie helped me we redid our coaching module, and it is a movable module. So no matter which course that you're in, you do the essential effective coaching module. And then for the cannabis, there's one additional coaching module because you have to learn specifically. That's more of a medical type of thing to learn. And we actually take you through a guided visualization to help you identify your niche. We help you identify what's called your avatar. Do you want to explain that concept of avatar?
Yes. So, I learned this when I was writing my book, but then it's also just a phrase that I hear coming up in all of the business podcasts I listen to and all of the Facebook pages that I'm on. And it's when you try to help everyone, you're helping no one. Because you really do have to figure out exactly who that person is that you want to help. And I did that when I wrote my book, like I said. So, I came up with her name, her age, what her life looked like. And to me, it was just those clients that were coming to me anyway. That's how I figured it out. I started out wanting to do something different than I'm doing now, but moms naturally came to me to lose weight. So that became my niche. But I think that you have to be very specific in who you want to help in order to be successful in helping anyone.
Well, and I think that there is a law of attraction in that too, because when you identify who you believe that you're in this world to work with, that's, they always say when the teacher is ready, the student will appear. So I think that clarifying that. And I do want to mention, just like Jamie, just like everybody, Sherry took the course too, the Holistic Health and Life Coaching. Julianne took that one too. Laurie took it. It's kind of a transformational journey, so that when people come into the course, they're thinking, oh, you know what, I think I want to specialize in hormones, or maybe I want to work with moms, or I want to, and it always changes because you will change going through all of these modules yourself. So there's no need to even think or worry about that. Just do the work and you will find it out.
And I was happy doing my mom weight loss coaching, and then I went through a divorce, and I connected with women who are going through divorce, and I was like, this is a population I really want to help. So now I'm kind of calling myself a women's empowerment coach, for health and weight loss, or, for mental and emotional health when you're going through a divorce. So definitely that's something that I didn't expect to add to my career, but I have, and I'm really excited about it. So I just followed the signs, and I try to see who wants to be served by me, and I try to serve those people.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And we'll go back to the gallery view now. Now, speaking of, because I do know that there are several people on here who are really interested in our cannabis coaching. And even though I say it's a wide open field, and there could be, you could have a very generalized practice in that and then discover perhaps what your niche may be. So Julianne came into the field, and Julianne's here. Hi, Julianne, if you want to wave, and now it's getting dark behind you.
I know, I don't usually look like Darth Vader.
Yeah, it's just that she couldn't get a good Wi-Fi. Julianne has a very fascinating background, because Julianne and her life partner had started marijuana for trauma. Really interesting story, having had PTSD as a veteran, didn't really know anything about marijuana, raised in that generation, and where Nancy Reagan said just say no, and it kind of like, I was a baby boomer, very different generation. And so as he discovered that, when he was able to help many thousands of people, and Julianne came to us because she was really interested in holistic health and wanting to get the education and she was seeing so many gaps in medical cannabis education, and wanted to be able to fill those gaps, and even fill those gaps in herself, which I was very impressed with. When somebody has a recognition that, what, I know a lot, but I think I really need a good foundation. I need the science. I need to understand. So go ahead, Julianne, and why don't you start speaking, and then I'll put you on speaker view.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, LG. That was great.
Okay.
So yeah, I found the Wellness Academy. I was just on Google, and I was searching different schools, trying to find what would fit, what information they provided, because we were helping so many people.
I think what's happening is that your sound
finding within the clinic. Can you better now?
A little better, yeah.
Better if I do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep it like that. So yeah, I was looking for something that would fill those gaps where I was like, okay, I know different strains. I'm learning what indica and sativa is, kind of more of the basics, but I didn't know how to put things into concise, easy, relatable ways of explaining it. So I wanted more scientific ways and easy ways at the same time to explain to a client, what is the endocannabinoid system? How do we all have these in our bodies? Why does cannabis work? And then really meeting people where they're at, depending on what symptoms that they need treated, or if you're a recreational user, you just want a quality experience. So within the clinics that my partner founded, we figured out a way to have a doctor there, that the patient could find the doctor to get their prescription, because that was a hurdle in itself. But then once they're getting the prescription, there was like 100 and some Health Canada approved licensed producers to go with. So no one knew who to go with. And then once you choose who to go with, no one knew where they should put their prescription. And it's kind of like a trial and error. So you're just picking one thing to try, and then you're like, did that work or not? Or people are having experiences like, I felt nothing, or maybe I felt too much, or how many times a day am I supposed to be medicating? How? And just so many questions. So the doctors, they only know so much.
And you're in Canada, and what's very interesting is that even though Canada was medical all throughout the country before the United States, and now it's legal, there still is such a paucity of cannabis educators that every single person that we are certifying in Canada is just being, they're being grabbed up just like that, because they're looking for people who can educate. Even the doctors, they don't have the time to spend with the patients.
Exactly. Like my nurse practitioner she's wonderful, but I still see a lot of patients that are like, their doctors are shaming them. And really it's mainly because they probably feel ashamed that they don't even know the information. So they can't make an educated guess as to even what to tell the patient to do. So having these certain clinics that can help people in that way is great. And then having the cannabis coach to really take your hand, fill that gap in care, and to guide you on your journey. Because once you start using cannabis, you're treating your symptoms. Now you're starting to feel better. And then naturally you will maybe want health and life coaching, or you want to start juicing or meditating. And so just always adding to that journey, and you have someone there with you to guide you and shape how that.
All right, we are losing you. So I'm kind of going to go back to gallery view right now. Just, I think it's also telling us that your bandwidth is really low right now. So we'll see
Okay.
if you can jump back on. And Julianne is such a beautiful girl too, and you're not really even getting a chance to see how pretty it's totally dark behind her now. Sherry, you are also, go ahead and wave for us. You're now doing some cannabis coaching. You've been through the cannabis program. You've been through the hypnotherapy program too, and of course you've been through the holistic health, and you're also a contributor on the gut and starting to do a little work with getting together our spiritual wellness program. Do you have anything you'd like to add about?
Um, my experience with this school has been fantastic. I mean, listening to the other people tell their stories. I mean, I entered into this with the intention of just being a holistic health coach because of my autoimmune disorder that I was diagnosed with. And like Jamie explained, you know, as you grow, you evolve your business. And somehow, some way, I ended up adding the hypno skills, the cannabis, and then now I added some CBD into my business. And I too have gone through a divorce since then, and now the whole spiritual wellness thing has been added into the mix as well. So, I mean, the amount of support that you get from the school, from the mentors, the guidance, the classmates, it just makes the process of being in the school and getting your certifications that much more enjoyable. You know, the flexibility, it's a
Well,
really
and that's the thing, that even though you're doing all the work kind of on your own, you know, you're doing it remotely. We do have forums. We have Facebook forums. We have one that's a general one that we talk about all kinds of things. And then I have a separate one for the cannabis, just so that you guys can interact on cannabis all day long, you know, without, you know, boring everybody else. And the networking that is going on, I call exquisite. You know, people feel just so excited being part of something too. And I would even say we have in our school, I would call it a culture. And it's a culture of collaboration, because as you are hearing, a lot of our students wind up being mentors. And then mentors start to come up with ideas. For instance, Jamie, who we're seeing on the screen right now, Jamie and I are collaborating right now to work on a very special niche market, which is working with people who are on the spectrum for natural wellness modalities that can help. Anything from CBD and cannabis to changing diet, to working with the family on mental dynamics, to spiritual understanding of really what is the spectrum all about from a spiritual perspective. So there's this whole culture of collaboration that we have going in the school. So I think that when we did the last study, it was 70% of our students go on to take another certification, which I think says something about us. So thank you, Sherry. And Sherry, just tell us also about what you're doing now. You've taken what you've learned and you're working, like helping people with meditation. You're at your studio right now, right?
yeah. The universe kind of led me to this meditation studio, and I ended up somehow becoming a meditation teacher. And I'm just kind of helping others heal through their own journeys through the pain that I went through. So it's been really great, being in a very like-minded community. It's very interesting, very satisfying and fulfilling.
And also, because you're in California, that particular meditation studio is very open to doing the heightened meditations. Yes.
We have cannabis enhanced sound healing journeys.
Enhanced journeys where yeah, that's so cool. And we're planning also starting retreats next year too. Canada. In fact, my husband and I are going up to Canada next month to speak to a few of our students up there, that we're going to start some retreats on CBD up there. But we're planning on doing one maybe in Mount Shasta next year. And that will be a lot of fun, because Julianne will be there to take us through yoga, and Sherry and Jamie will take us through wonderful through meditation and through hypnosis. We'll have a lot of fun with that. Thank you then, Sherry, for your sharing. And now we have Laurie. So Laurie came in holistic health and life coaching, but she has a background working with Plexus products and understanding the gut and understanding, very fascinated by the way the mind and the gut, it's called the second brain. And she's been working with me. We've just launched our Mind Gut program, and she is the principal mentor on that program. We also have Mitsui, but she is not joining us from Mexico because we have students also in Mexico in this course. So Laurie, tell us a little bit about yourself in the course that you're going to be mentoring.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laurie. Just to piggyback on what you were talking about culture, that was one of the big reasons why I chose this school and still love to be a part of this school and this environment and this team. I've always been more of a person that likes to be on a team versus like stand alone. And the support is amazing and the camaraderie is amazing. And just like you said, the people working together. So we worked on the gut mind, which was wonderful and interesting, and I can't soak up enough information on it because it is just so fascinating. And I am a former elementary school teacher, so I do love to still kind of have a portion of that role in me where I'm helping others succeed and learn and propel themselves forward due to new information. And so that's nice to still have my toe in that area. And the Gut and Mind course, I think, will be eye-opening for pretty much anyone who doesn't, even if you have a somewhat of a background in mind, gut, or the gut, I think you will be pleasantly surprised with what you will come out of the course with.
And it's a good opportunity to talk about our whole teaching philosophy. My background also is in instructional design. I've worked for years helping people create their own courses. And there has been a model for far too long in this country called the KISS model, and it's the keep it simple, stupid. And honestly, I think it's taken, I know at least the United States, into a place where I think that it has lowered kind of the bar in education. Now, I have the KISS model in my instructional design, and it's called Keep It Sophisticatedly Simple. We want to have sophisticated information, but the way that we teach is so that you can put into action what you're learning, rather than just getting a whole bunch of facts and then just getting through a little mini quiz so that you can pass on to the next module. The types of learning experiences we have will put you in situations and scenarios so that you know what you would say. You don't have to, you're going to find your own way of explaining things. And also you're going to walk your talk, because that's what Laurie and I decided to do, collaborating on the Mind Gut program, is that there is an entire module that while they're learning things about like fermentation and lifestyle, they're participating in their own detox. I know Jamie, for instance, does a lot of group work with women to do gut detox, but how we're doing it is that each student, they get to choose between 5 different detox programs, and they choose one and they go through it for 2 or 3 weeks. 3 weeks ideally, but sometimes life gets in your way. And they're documenting it either by keeping a little diary or doing a little video diary, because it's perfect. Because as a coach, you want to build your tribe, you want to build your following. And so we teach you in the essential effective coaching how you build your social media presence, and how do you get your clients and then how do you work with them, so this is a really good, everything that we do has that philosophy. So there's never a question that we're asking you just, kind of you remember in high school and college, you learn things and then you just get out of school and you never remembered anything. We teach you in a way that's designed to help you remember.
Agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Because if they want to have information about what particular foods or what particular micronutrients, that's always something that we can look up if you don't remember everything. It's hard to memorize and have that all, but the most important thing is to have your confidence when you are speaking to the client. You want to sound sophisticated. Obviously, you are the one with the knowledge, but you want to keep it at a level that they're going to understand. Thank you, Laurie. Okay, so we come to Cortney now. So Cortney this is kind of a new course that we have, and I'll let Cortney tell you about it. She is a geologist, right now working as a hydrogeologist. not too far away from me, which is really nice. And this is kind of, well, I'm going to go ahead and let you speak. Go ahead, Cortney Cameron. Why don't you tell us all about, you're going to explain it so much better than me.
Thanks, LJ. Well, as LJ mentioned, my name's Cortney, and I'm a geoscientist, also a writer, and I'm the mentor for the Nature Spirit Walks Guide Nature Therapy program. Basically, the program trains coaches to help clients reconnect with nature using a blend of skills in naturalism, mindfulness, trail leadership. Research has confirmed what people have known for millennia, and that's that spending time in nature is associated with numerous positive impacts on well-being. And from personal experience, it's certainly helped me overcome difficulties. But at the same time, research shows people are spending less time than ever in nature these days for a number of reasons. Our guides learn how to remove some of those barriers to help people rekindle that ancient and instinctive connection with nature. And a great thing about nature therapy is that it links in with so many wellness professions. Whatever you're doing, nature could have a place. And our program helps you to develop your own framework for integrating nature into your particular way of helping people. And that's something that's so great about the Academy, is that you can customize and mix and match programs through the blended certifications to very closely meet your interests and your needs and your clients' needs. That's all I have. Of course, feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Yeah, and this is a different kind of a certification in the sense that it doesn't, you can work at your own pace. I mean, how long do you think somebody should take to go through the program, even though they can go through it much more quickly?
I think 3 to 6 months would be a reasonable pace if you weren't rushing through it. It's
Right.
relatively short program, but you do get a lot of practical experience through the projects that you'll work on. Very reasonable time-wise and in terms of the effort, but you also develop very practical skills.
It's also a very reasonably priced certification too, and you get a lot of wonderful information. In all of our courses, we have never had a complaint of not enough information, so you will have a lot of information. Thank you, Cortney. So,
Thank you, LJ. And
okay, great. So I also do want to mention too that, when I formed this Academy, I really wanted to make it financially accessible for people too. Our pricing, if you've ever looked at other schools, particularly on holistic health, you'll find that we have very favorable cost, and we do work with you with financing too. We have a deposit that's just kind of let us know that you're really committed to the program, and then a monthly payment. And we do work with everybody to make it work for them too. So with that being said, I'm going to open up mics. So just in case anybody has, T-Show, I don't think that you have even the option right now. Holly, I'm opening up your mic right now, unmuting you. We've got a couple other people here too. Okay, yeah, Sherry's taken off because she's got to go and teach a class. Have a good class. And we have a couple of people that have called in. If anybody has a question, please feel free to chime in. You can ask it of any particular mentor or a generalized question about the Academy. Somebody from a 703 area code. All right, I'm putting glasses on now so that I can see. It just lit up for a second. Do you have any questions, anybody? But we have somebody in the chat. Okay, that was Sherry. Okay.
All I know is I'm ready to do this.
It's a real, like I say, I was thinking about it today, and the word culture came to me. And I think that that's really describes us, is that we do have this great culture, of you'll do your work, but you do have the mentor working with you. Sometimes the things that we want most in life brings up resistances in us too, and blockages. And what the great thing is that when you're working with a mentor, we know how to get you past it too. We know sometimes we'll sabotage ourselves when we want something more than anything in the world. We'll put so whether we're doing cheerleading, whether we're doing counseling, whether we're tough loving you, or whether we're just, rah, 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 I mean, you're doing a great job. This is really what the mentors are for. And every once in a while, we just have to be really creative, to get somebody who is having those blockages coming through. So just if anybody has any questions, please feel free. to ask them. You can use the chat box. Holly, did you have a question? Okay, because I saw it was lighting up for a second. I know that people who are calling in or tuning in, it's sometimes get a little shy about it. You're always welcome to write in a question. If there is one of the mentors that really kind of just draws your imagination and you like to communicate with them, they're just more than willing to do that too. And we've got this recorded, so if you want a link to be able to see it again. Does any of the mentors have anything else that you'd like to add? Did we forget anything? Probably. There's so much to talk about. Everybody's quiet now. All right. Well, I am going to turn off the recording now. If anybody just doesn't want to be recorded and ask a question, we're going to do that. All right. We're going to turn it off the recording.